Hey everyone, I'm David Finz, and on this episode of the Cyber Insurance Imperative, we're going to be taking a closer look at a bipartisan bill introduced in the U.S. Senate, which promises to provide small businesses with the information they need to make better use of a growing but often misunderstood tool for managing digital risk. I'm talking about their cyber insurance policy. As reported by Politico last week, the Insure Cybersecurity Act of 2023 is being co-sponsored by Senators John Hickenlooper of Colorado and Shelley Moore of West Virginia. Now, this bill, if passed, would create an interagency working group for the purpose of studying cyber risk and better facilitating communication between insurers and insureds. Some of the objectives laid out in this legislation include analyzing and explaining in a manner that is understandable to customers the technical and legal terminology that is often used in policies, developing recommendations regarding provisions that relate to ransomware and payments being made in response to ransomware attacks, determining how to address incidents that are caused by cyber terrorism or acts of war, developing recommendations for prospective customers around the types and levels of coverage offered under a policy, and guidance for agents and brokers regarding how to communicate policy provisions in a way that is clear and easy for customers to understand. The group would also look at the constraints facing issuers in areas of cyber risk that are not adequately covered at present, such as reputational damage and intellectual property. The working group would also gather input from issuers about what measures might be needed to address these exposures, as well as to address the question of why more organizations aren't buying cyber insurance. The working group would be comprised of representatives from the Cybersecurity Infrastructure and Security Agency, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, the Department of the Treasury, and the Department of Justice, as well as representatives from other agencies as the working group deems appropriate. The working group would also be empowered to solicit input from external stakeholders and would be expected to generate a report on its findings no more than 1 year out from its launch. Now, all of this sounds good in theory, but it begs the question, why is the federal government considering spending taxpayer dollars to fund a study group around a product that has grown organically within the insurance industry? Look, there's no question that the lack of standardization in carrier forms can be challenging for brokers and insureds. However, there are entities within the insurance industry that can help homogenize the terms and conditions. As the product matures, the industry can take the initiative and agree on weights and measures, so to speak, without stifling innovation or competition. It's not clear to me that Washington needs to be involved in putting together a solution. Of course, this is just my opinion and not necessarily reflective of that of my employer. However, the industry should take this as a wake-up call because regardless of whether this legislation passes, there is a need for consensus around the scope of the product, and the words used by industry professionals should have common meaning. If we can accomplish this independent of government intervention, it will make the product more user-friendly for everyone. In the meantime, you don't have to wait for Uncle Sam to explain to you what is and is not covered by your cyber insurance policy. Here at Alliant, we can take a look at your current policy and make recommendations around enhancements that will help you make the most of your coverage. And if your current broker isn't making an annual policy review part of your renewal program, maybe it's time that you discover the more rewarding way to manage risk. So DM me on LinkedIn or email me at david.finz@alliant.com, and I'll be happy to take a look at your current policy and offer suggestions for improvement. Thanks for watching.